Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Cody Steck. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to talk about 6 things you have to know about winter here in Utah. Now, if you're thinking about making a move here to Utah, make sure to reach out to me, call, text, or email anytime. My information will be here on the screen. I love hearing from you guys, and I've helped people from all across the world make that move right here to my hometown. So I cannot wait to hear from you. Now guys, as we jump into this list, make sure to stick around all the way till the end of the video. I'm going to talk about a couple of topics that I get asked about all the time, and you've probably had these questions as well. So make sure to stick around all the way till the end so you can get the information that you're looking for about winter here in Utah. All right, now the first thing you need to know here on our list is that the snow is coming. At the time of this recording, it's the end of November, and the snow is just around the corner. We're going to see snow from December all the way through about March, maybe even April if we get a late snowstorm. January, February, March, and December, we see a lot of snow during this time of year. Here in the valley, we might get a couple of inches of snow, and in the mountains, we're going to get a couple of feet. We're going to talk more about that a little bit later on. Talking about October and November, we generally get a lot of rain, and this is when temperatures cool down and we start moving into those winter months. As we move forward to the end of winter, talking about March, April, and even May, these are the months where we're going to be moving into spring. March can be really hit or miss. We might get a couple warm days or a couple cold days. We might get rain or snow. And as we go into April, then it starts to transition mostly to rain and temperatures start warming up a little bit. And we start moving into like the high 40s, 50s, maybe even the low 60s on a really warm day in April. Now, that leads us into the second thing we need to talk about here, and that's that the best time to visit here in Utah is going to be January or February, especially if you're looking to ski or snowboard here in Utah. This is going to be the best time. If you come earlier, like in December, you're just not going to have enough snowpack at this time to really be able to access the full ski resort. If you go later in the year, it's going to be warm enough where it might be really icy or slushy depending on what time of day you go. So in my opinion, January or February is the best time to ski or snowboard here in Utah. And even if you're just visiting at this time of year, this is going to be the time of year where you get the full winter experience of what it's like to live here during this time. You're going to get to experience the temperature, what the weather's like. You're going to get to really feel what it's like to live here during this time. You can still get some good skiing and really experience what the city has to offer outside of these months, but in my opinion, that's going to be the best time to visit. Next up, the third thing we're talking about here on our list is that you are going to need snow tires or all-season tires for your vehicle. You can get away with just having a two-wheel drive vehicle, you know, your general car. You can get away with driving that during the winter, but you will need at least snow tires or all-season tires in order to make that happen. If you don't have those tires, you're not going to make it. You're going to get stuck. You're going to get stuck in the parking lot or leaving your house, and so you really do have to plan for this. Some people will actually have 2 sets. They'll have a summer set of tires and a winter set of tires for their two-wheel drive vehicle. So that's an option. What I've done personally for a lot of years for my two-wheel drive vehicle was I just had a set of all-season tires, which allowed me to drive during the summer and drive during the winter very carefully. You might still experience some less than ideal driving scenarios during the winter with just all-season tires, but it is possible to get around, and it is something that can be done. You just have to be smart about it and, you know, kind of have that experience of driving in the snow and the wet. So it is something you can do. If you have an all-wheel drive vehicle or a four-wheel drive vehicle, that's going to be even better, especially if you've got a vehicle like that with snow tires. You're going to be just fine. Unless you're going up the canyon on a regular basis, you're going to be just fine driving around town, and you're not going to really have to worry about it. The snow plows generally do get out onto the roads pretty early. Even if it's snowing overnight, they'll get out there at 2, 3, 4 a.m. To start clearing the roads. They usually start with the big roads first, and then they'll filter down into the neighborhoods later on. As the storm progresses, they try to clear as many roads as possible, as quick as possible, and this makes it pretty easy to drive. As long as you're not driving right in the middle of the storm, in most cases you should probably be okay if you've got snow tires, all-season tires, or an all-wheel drive vehicle. Now, as we jump into the fourth thing here on our list today, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. A ton of people who watch these videos are not subscribed. It's going to help you because you're going to get notified when I release these new videos, and it's going to help me because more people will be able to watch these videos who are interested in learning about Utah. So the fourth thing we need to talk about on our list is snow days for school and also the city potentially shutting down when we receive these winter storms. This is something that I get asked about all the time. You know, hey, are we going to see the school shut down? Are we going to see the city shut down where people aren't required to come into work or anything like that? And it's pretty rare that that happens. You know, when you get used to living here in Utah, when we get a foot of snow, that's kind of just like normal for us, not a big deal. Of course, it, causes some delays and there's crashes and, whatever, things kind of slow down, but life goes on as normal. The snowplows get out there, people start shoveling the driveways, their sidewalks, stuff like that. It's usually not a big deal when these winter storms come. And in fact, having grown up here, I only remember having one snow day in my entire childhood. So it's not something that happens very often. It's definitely not going to be every year. And it's just something you kind of have to plan for. And if you're coming from like a sunny state, California, the East Coast, the South or whatever, you're going to really have to adjust to this. It's going to take a couple years, but you'll get there and you'll, kind of figure out how to live in the snow like the rest of us. And it won't be a really big deal. So no, the city does not really shut down. No, the schools do not generally shut down. So this isn't something you have to worry about. Next up, we're talking about number 5 here, and that is going to be the average storm size and the general weather that we see during the winter months. The average storm size that we're going to see here in the valley, we might get 2, 3, 4 inches of snow on a general storm. If we get a really big storm that comes through, we could see up to 12 to 16 inches of snow in the valley. Now, if we're getting 2, 3, 4 inches of snow in the valley, we're going to be getting about a foot in the mountains during that time. If we get a foot here in the valley, we're going to be getting 2 to 3 feet in the mountains. This is why all the ski resorts are there, and this is why people love skiing, because when you got 2 to 3 feet of snow, that makes for very good skiing conditions. So you're going to get obviously more snow in the mountains when you get more snow in the valley, right? Because it's a bigger storm. And it also kind of depends on where you're actually at within the valley itself. If you're on the eastern bench, right at the base of the Wasatch Mountains, you might get 8 inches in a storm, whereas if you're in the center of the valley, you might only get 3 inches, right? So it really depends on where you live in the valley, where you're going to, and obviously as you go up in elevation, you're going to see more snow and you're going to see bigger storms as you move east into the mountains. Now, talking about general weather and specifically the temperatures are generally going to be in the 20s and 30s for most of the winter months. Sometimes it warms up quite a bit and we might see a day in the high 30s, even low 40s if we get really lucky, but most days are going to be 20s to 30s. Sometimes it does get a little cold. Overnight, we might see it drop into the teens or maybe even into single digits, but that's a little bit more rare. That doesn't usually stick around. So for the most part, you can plan on weather being in the 20s to 30s, and this is great weather for just wearing a light jacket or even a sweatshirt. You generally don't need a big coat unless you're going to be outside for a long period of time. Most people around here are going from the house to the car to the office to the grocery store back to the house, right? So you're kind of going from one heated place into the next. So generally just like a light jacket or even a sweatshirt or something like that is going to be kind of your general winter weather for most people. That's really all you have to plan on. You don't really need a big jacket on most occasions. All right, now number 6 on our list is something I just have to talk about. You're probably wondering, hey Cody, when are you going to talk about the inversion? So basically what happens with inversion is you get a high pressure system that comes in over the valley that we live in here, and that will trap all of the air that's in the valley and won't let it escape. So all of the bad air that we see from cars or your fireplace, that air is released and it's not able to escape the valley that we live in here. So this is why we get that inversion and why we get that bad air quality. Now this is generally going to happen in between storms. Whenever we get a storm system that comes through, it's going to swirl up that air and kind of push everything out as that snow or rain passes through the valley. So this is what mixes up the air and causes the inversion to flush out. So this isn't something that we always have, but it does come and go generally between storms. Right after the storm happens, you might get a very clear blue sky day, which is awesome. Those are my favorite days. And then the inversion will start to kind of roll in over the next couple days after that. When you do have that inversion here in town, those are the best days to get up to the ski resorts, get up to Park City, or even just get out of town altogether if possible, because you don't really want to be stuck in that. Worst case, these are the days where you're going to kind of also want to stay inside and let the air filter on your furnace system filter that air so you can be breathing as clean of air as possible. So the inversion is definitely an issue. In my personal opinion, I don't think it's any worse than what you're going to find in any other major city that has air quality issues, such as Los Angeles or Houston, and I'm sure there's a lot of others. So we do have bad air. I think it's on par with what a lot of other cities see. It is just something you have to kind of deal with. If you've got lung problems or asthma or something like that, then yeah, that's probably something you're going to want to take into account if you're moving here. But for your general average person, I don't necessarily think it's a huge deal in my personal opinion. The government and the people are very aware that this is an issue and it's something that they're working on. They're trying to make changes so that the air quality can be as good as possible. And it might be years or maybe even decades or perhaps even never before we actually come to a solution with this, but they are trying to make it as good as possible. So it's something that's very top of mind and very really, you know, people know about it and they try to be conscious of it, which is good at helping the problem. So with all that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this list of 6 things you have to know about winter in Utah. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. Share this video with a friend or a family member who's also interested in Utah. If you found value in this video, I bet they will as well, and it would mean a lot to me. And also, don't forget to reach out to me if you're thinking about making a move here to Utah, or you already live here and you want to buy real estate, sell real estate, or invest in real estate, then reach out to me. My information is here on the screen. Call, text, or email anytime. I absolutely love hearing from you guys, and I can't wait to hear from you specifically. With that said, guys, catch you in the next one.